Hello everybody, I'm Tug the Penguin. Did you miss me? Assuming you even know who I am, that is. I've been here for like over a decade. Don't blame me, blame pumpkins. But now I'm coming back in full force as the new host of FLASHBack in Newgrounds Rally, which have now merged into a single show. Don't worry, Scarlet is still here, and we've got plans for Ember. But today, we're going to be talking about Gravity Falls, created by Alex Hirsch. Why specifically this show and not something like Gargoyles? Because we love how Alex is willing to call out Disney's performative nature. Remember folks, Disney and many other corporations do not care about representation of marginalized groups, as they see it as nothing more than PR and a trend. And we should normalize calling out performative tactics from corpos, celebs, and influencers, because we allow that to go through just because it's not openly harmful. It justifies them into using marginalized groups as marketing ploys. Support genuine representation, and not claiming you have your first gay character in a movie only for them to play such a minimal role in the project as they're removed into Chinese and Russian releases, and to do that all over again for brownie points. We love you, Alex. But let's get back into the game. For this new version of the show, we plan to go over multiple games that go into a certain series or theme. Except for this one. Not only did Gravity Falls come during a point in time where Flash games weren't as popular, but the few we could find just don't work. We use Flashpoint to play these games, but it's worth noting that not everything is guaranteed to work well. One game we tried was A Little Gideon Shrinks Back. After waiting like 5 minutes for it to load, we go to the title screen, intro, and level select. But after that, this happens. Whoa, calm down there. Looks like somebody's happy to see me. Despite the excited loading bar, the game decided not to load after this, as we're waiting for a whole 10 minutes until we gave up. That's farther than most of the other games that wouldn't load at all, but there was one we got working. Rumble's Revenge. Rumble McSkirmish has trapped Dipper and Mable inside the arcade, and they must fight through a pixelated version of Gravity Falls to escape. Immediately you'll notice that for a Flash game based on a cartoon, this game looks and sounds great. It actually goes for a pixelated look with chiptune music. This seems standard now, but you gotta remember that during the 2000s, not everyone understood what retro games were like. Some would just go for some techno music that sounds only vaguely like chiptune, or instead of pixel art, they would draw characters in squares, which almost never looks good. A sprite is like $20, guys. The 2010s was the era that finally understood what retro games actually looked and acted like. So the game looks good, but how does it play? Well, once again, for a Flash game based on a cartoon, it's a pretty solid side-scrolling beat-em-up. Of course, it's not anything perfect, but still good for a free game you can play on browsers. One thing I love is that you can keep yourself airborne by landing air attacks. Each one bounces you back up, and it's the best way to rank up combos. But as good as this game is, it has its fair share of flaws too. After getting up for being knocked down, it feels like your character is locked in place for a second, leaving you open for more hits.
Why don't you run? You think you got balls?
No, I am just stricken with fear. Ah! And in areas where you should be able to keep moving as long as you're holding a direction down, you are still stuck, so you have to release the button and press it again to start moving. Also, the pickup button is the same as the attack button, so when you're trying to hit an enemy with an item while standing by another item, you just leave yourself open for more hits as you're swapping the same thing over and over. I'm gonna kill you! I just gotta decide how. Both are very good options, I just can't decide. But besides that, the game is pretty good for what it is. I wonder why not many people talk about it. Well, when most people talk about old Flash games, they mainly focus on the 2000s. Even though Flash games were still being made in the 2010s, most people seem to move on as kids focused more on the App Store for free games than places like DisneyChannel.com. It makes you wonder how many potentially great games based on shows like Adventure Time or Steven Universe just went unnoticed because they came during the 2010s. Well, your creator should have been born sooner. Obviously, that is your fault.